Lila's eyes opened slowly, blinking against a light that was almost too bright. She tried to move, but her body felt heavy, unfamiliar. Cold metal pressed against her skin, joints moving with a stiffness that was not her own. She tried to sit up, and a soft whirring sound echoed through her chest. She gasped and put her hands in front of her, metal fingers. Her eyes widened. She touched her face and felt it, the smooth warmth of her skin mixed with something hard and silver. She was no longer just Lila. She was something else, something more, something terrifying and powerful at the same time. Around her, the laboratory was alive with motion. People in white coats moved quickly, their faces serious, their voices low but urgent. They typed on screens, adjusted machines, whispered to each other. They did not notice her watching them. Or maybe they did, but Lila felt like she was both invisible and observed, trapped in a place that was bright, clean, and frightening. She tried to speak, but her voice was strange, mechanical, layered, echoing slightly in the room. She coughed softly and listened to the sound. It was her voice, but not the voice she remembered. She remembered laughing with her friends in the old park near her house, remembered the sound of her brother Ethan calling her name. She remembered the smell of flowers in the small garden she had planted with her mother. All of it came back in fragments, in flashes that made her stomach tighten with both longing and fear. What am I?" she whispered to herself. The sound felt wrong, not fully hers. She touched her neck, her chest, trying to find the pulse of the human heart she thought she still had. Yes, she felt it, weak, irregular, but alive beneath the metal. She could feel the warmth of life beneath the cold surface, and it gave her hope. Her mind raced, trying to understand what had happened. She remembered the accident, the fire, the hospital room, and then darkness. She had not thought she would wake again. And now she was here, awake, alive, but changed. Half human, half machine, with memories that seemed sharper and clearer than ever. She tried to focus, to gather the pieces of who she had been. She remembered her father's smile when she got her first bike, remembered running through the autumn leaves, feeling the wind in her hair. She remembered promises she had made to friends she might never see again. And she remembered fear, fear of death, fear of losing herself. The scientists finally noticed her. One of them, a tall man with tired eyes, approached slowly. "She's awake," he said softly. Another nodded, and a woman in a blue coat came forward with a tablet. Lila's mind screamed at her to hide, to run, but her body felt strange. Her legs obeyed her, but not fully. She stood, wobbling, and took a step forward. The metal in her knees clicked softly. She felt strong, yes, but not free. Who am I?" she asked again, louder this time, her voice trembling. The man stopped and looked at her with something that was not quite fear, not quite sympathy. "You are Lila," he said carefully. "You are special. We saved you." Saved? The word echoed in her mind. Saved from what? From death? From being forgotten? She wanted to scream at them, to demand answers, but she also wanted to understand herself first. She looked down at her hands, hands that could lift machines, repair circuits, but had once only held pencils, crayons, a watering can. How could she be the same person? How could she be anyone at all? Her mind wandered again, and suddenly she remembered Ethan. Her brother. Her protector. The boy who had always been smaller than her, but brave and clever. Did he know? Was he alive? Did he remember her? A sharp pang hit her chest, sharper than anything she felt from her mechanical parts. She wanted to cry, but the tears felt wrong, slowed by the metal. She touched her face again and felt a strange mix of comfort and alienation. She was herself, but also something else. The scientists began discussing something quietly among themselves. Lila could hear fragments: enhanced neural interface, memory retention successful, possible emotional triggers. Words that were technical and cold. But she understood enough to know they were experimenting on her mind, her soul. She wanted to resist, but she did not know how. She felt both powerless and more powerful than she had ever felt. The metal in her body gave her strength, her mind gave her memories, her soul gave her fear, hope, and determination all at once. Her gaze wandered around the lab. Screens displayed graphs and moving images she could barely understand. Machines hummed and clicked. She walked closer to a table with a small glass container. Inside was a photograph, her family, smiling before everything changed. Her chest tightened. She remembered the warmth of those days, the sound of her mother's laugh, her father's gentle voice. And then she remembered the fire, the hospital, the darkness that followed. She had survived, but at what cost? Lila sat down on the edge of a table, trying to breathe, trying to focus. The metal in her limbs whirred softly, a reminder that she was no longer the girl she had been. She flexed her fingers, feeling the strange mixture of sensation and circuitry. She felt pain, yes, but also incredible awareness. She could sense the small vibration of machines across the room, the movement of air, the subtle shifts in light. It was overwhelming, but she felt alive. Truly alive. A young technician came closer, holding a small device. "You may feel strange," he said gently, "but it will help you adjust." Lila looked at him, unsure if she trusted him. Her memories told her to be cautious, to be wary of people who wanted control. But the human part of her wanted to believe in kindness and hope. She nodded slightly, accepting the device. As it touched her temple, a soft wave of data and images flooded her mind. She saw flashes of her past more clearly now: birthdays, school, friends, small victories, small losses. And through it all, she felt something stronger than metal, stronger than circuits, the enduring essence of who she had been. She closed her eyes and let the memories wash over her. They were painful, yes, but they were hers. And suddenly she understood something important. She was not just metal. She was not just a machine created by scientists. She was still Lila. Her memories, her feelings, her courage, they had survived. The fire, the accident, the experiments, none of it could erase her humanity. The scientists continued their work around her, unaware that she was planning, thinking, learning. She would need to escape one day. She would need to find answers, to find Ethan, to understand why she had been saved in this way. But for now, she focused on herself, on remembering, on reclaiming the fragments of the life she once knew. Hours passed. Lila explored the lab slowly, testing her strength, flexing her new body, listening to the faint hum of the machinery that now pulsed with her presence. She remembered small things: a bird landing on a branch, the smell of wet earth, the feeling of a warm blanket around her shoulders. All these things made her feel human again. And she realized something powerful. No matter how much metal they added, no matter how many wires or chips or circuits they put into her body, her mind and her heart were still hers. That was something no machine could take. When night came, the lab lights dimmed. Lila lay back on the soft surface, her body tired but her mind awake. She thought of her past, of the life she had loved, and of the strange, frightening present. She knew that tomorrow would bring challenges. She knew she would have to fight, to discover, to survive. But she also knew that she had a gift: memory, courage, and the spark of human spirit that no metal could destroy. As she closed her eyes, Lila whispered softly, almost to herself, "I am Lila. I'm still me. I will remember. I will live." And in the quiet hum of the laboratory, her new life began. Days passed slowly in the bright laboratory. Lila grew more familiar with her new body, the strange mix of metal and flesh that had replaced the girl she once was. The whirring of her joints became normal. The hum of the machines that surrounded her felt almost like a heartbeat, steady and constant. But it was not the machines that filled her mind, it was her memories. At first they were small flashes, brief and fleeting. She would see a fragment of a day from her past, a small detail that brought warmth to her chest. The smell of fresh bread baking in the kitchen. The sound of leaves rustling in the autumn wind. The soft laughter of a friend calling her name. And always the memory of Ethan, her brother. She remembered him teasing her gently, trying to hide behind a tree as she chased him in the small garden behind their house. He had always been clever, quick, and full of courage. She could see the dirt on his hands as he planted tiny seeds with her, and the bright smile that lit up his face when a flower finally bloomed. The memories came slowly at first, almost like droplets of water leaking through a sealed jar. But as Lila focused, as she closed her eyes and tried to reach the girl she once was, the memories grew stronger, sharper. She remembered the feel of soil between her fingers, the scent of roses and tulips, and the warmth of the sun on her face. Her heart ached for the simplicity of those days, for the life that had been hers before the metal replaced flesh, before the lab replaced home. She began to understand something that startled her: she was still herself. The people in white coats could modify her body, give her strength, even control some parts of her movement, but they could not touch her mind. They could not erase the memories that made her who she was. They could not steal her essence, her soul. For the first time since waking, Lila felt a flicker of hope. She began to write. At first it was simple notes: "I remember Ethan. I remember the garden. I am Lila." But the more she wrote, the more she drew. She sketched flowers from memory, little houses she remembered, and even the sky as it had looked on a summer evening. Her hands moved automatically, metal fingers tracing the familiar curves and lines, translating memory into shapes and words. It was as if the act of drawing, of writing, was a lifeline, a way to anchor herself to the humanity inside her. Sometimes the flashes of memory were painful. She remembered the accident, the fire, the hospital room. She remembered the fear, the darkness, and the feeling of being lost. Those memories cut into her, a reminder that she had been through things no human should endure. But she also remembered love, laughter, and courage, and those were stronger than the pain. She learned to hold both, the joy and the sorrow, because they made her complete. One afternoon, as sunlight streamed through the laboratory windows, Lila found herself staring at a small garden outside, visible through the glass. It reminded her so much of the one she and Ethan had tended together. She pressed her palm against the glass and felt a strange longing. She could not touch it, could not feel the soil beneath her fingers, but the memory of it filled her with warmth. She closed her eyes and imagined planting seeds, watering them, watching them grow. She imagined Ethan laughing beside her, pointing out a tiny sprout. She could almost hear his voice, soft but strong. "We did it, Lila. Look." She began speaking to herself more often, whispering her memories aloud, testing them, holding on to them. "I remember the roses, the rain, Ethan's laugh, the blue sky." Each word was a reminder that she had lived, that she had been loved, that she had a life that was still hers, even in this new metallic form. Sometimes when she whispered these things, the lab felt less like a prison and more like a place where she could grow again, where her mind could bloom like the garden she remembered. Her drawings became more detailed. She drew the small pond near her home, the wooden swing that creaked in the wind, and the tall oak tree where she and Ethan would sit in the evenings. She drew the faces of her friends, smiling and laughing, holding hands and sharing secrets. She even began to write small stories, little tales of adventure and courage that were inspired by her past life. Through this she discovered something remarkable. Her mind was not broken. It was alive, vibrant, and creative. The humans who had rebuilt her body had preserved her mind perfectly, and that realization filled her with awe and determination. Lila noticed that she started to feel emotions more vividly than before. Happiness when remembering a pleasant memory. Sadness when thinking of what was lost. Anger at the thought of being trapped in the lab. And above all, a quiet, steady hope that she could reclaim her life in some way. The metal in her body gave her strength and precision, but it was the human spirit inside that made her who she truly was. She began to understand that she did not have to choose between being a machine and being human. She could be both. Sometimes the scientists would come to observe her, checking her reactions, testing her abilities. Lila learned to watch them carefully. She watched the way they moved, listened to the words they spoke, and memorized every detail. She learned which buttons they pressed, which doors they opened. In her mind she began forming a plan, not just to survive but to reclaim freedom. Yet even as she planned, she knew that rushing would be foolish. She had to understand herself fully first, to ensure that when the time came she would be ready. Each memory she recovered became a small victory, a piece of herself returned. She remembered her mother singing lullabies at night, her father telling stories of stars and planets, Ethan daring her to climb higher in the trees. These memories filled her with energy, reminding her that life, even before this metal shell, had been full of beauty, courage, and connection. She realized that the essence of being human was not only in the flesh but in the mind, the heart, and the soul. And that essence had survived. One night, she sat on the floor of the laboratory, sketches and notes spread around her like a map of her past life. She traced lines with her fingers, touching the paper with both metal and flesh. "I am Lila," she whispered. "I am still me. I remember. I will not forget." And she meant it. Every sketch, every note, every memory was a promise to herself. She would survive. She would hold on to her humanity. She would remember the life she had before the fire, before the lab, before the metal. She imagined the garden again, this time not just as a memory but as a goal. She wanted to plant something real, something alive outside the lab. She wanted to feel dirt under her hands, sun on her face, wind in her hair. She wanted to laugh with Ethan again, or at least honor his memory in everything she did. Her mind raced with possibilities, and for the first time, she felt a spark of joy that was not tied to memory alone, but to hope for the future. The more Lila remembered, the more she realized that being a cyborg did not make her less human. Her body had changed, yes, but her mind, her soul, her memories were intact. That was her true strength. And with that strength, she began to feel something new, a quiet determination to explore, to understand, and to reclaim what had been lost. She was no longer just a survivor. She was a girl with memories, courage, and purpose. As the night deepened, Lila lay back on the soft metal table, her notes and sketches piled around her. She closed her eyes and let the memories flow one by one. They were bright and vivid, each one a reminder that she had lived, that she had loved, that she had fought to exist. And now, with her new body, she had the chance to continue, to build on what she had lost, to become something even stronger. She whispered softly, almost to herself, "I remember. I will not forget. I will be who I was, and who I can become." And in that quiet moment, surrounded by machines and silence, Lila felt her heart, metal and flesh, beat with a renewed sense of life and purpose. The laboratory was quiet at night, except for the soft hum of machines and the occasional beep of monitors. Lila lay on her table, wide awake. She had been thinking all evening about her memories, her sketches, and the world outside the lab. She knew she could not stay here. The scientists were not interested in who she was. They wanted to study her, to test her, to make her into something she did not want to be. A weapon. She flexed her metal fingers and felt the strength in them, the power in her limbs. She had learned to control her body over the past days, testing every movement quietly, carefully, while the scientists slept. Each click of her joints was deliberate, each motion precise. She had a plan forming in her mind. She would escape. She had to. The hallways of the laboratory were narrow, lined with bright lights and glass panels. Lila moved silently, her enhanced senses allowing her to detect the faintest sound of footsteps, the softest vibration of moving machinery. She paused often, listening. The night was her ally. The lab was vulnerable when the humans slept. And she was faster, stronger, smarter than they expected. As she approached the main exit, she saw the security doors. They were locked electronically, a complex system of codes and sensors. She examined the mechanism carefully, her fingers moving over the keypad. Memories of puzzles and problem-solving from her childhood came back to her. She remembered how she used to figure out little mechanical games her father gave her, and suddenly, the lock felt simple. She entered a series of commands, manipulating the system silently. The door clicked and she slipped through into the night. Outside, the city was alive with neon lights and the distant sound of traffic. The air was crisp, filled with the smell of rain and electricity. Lila paused to take it all in. She had been confined for so long that even the simple sight of a street, glowing with color, made her feel dizzy with wonder. Her metal limbs allowed her to move quickly, silently, without effort. She felt the wind on her face and realized she was free, at least for now. She walked quickly through the streets, avoiding patrols and surveillance drones. Every sense was alert, every step calculated. But as she moved, she noticed something unexpected. People walking in the streets, going about their lives. They did not see her as a threat. They saw a young woman moving confidently, her stride steady. It was strange, comforting, and frightening at the same time. Lila ducked into a narrow alley to rest for a moment. She had escaped the lab, but she did not yet know where to go. The city was vast, full of machines and people, and she was alone. That was when she heard a soft voice behind her. "Hey, you okay?" She turned quickly, instincts ready to fight, but stopped when she saw him. A young man, wearing a simple jacket and a tool belt, stood looking at her with calm eyes. His name was Max. His gaze was curious, not fearful. He did not flinch when he saw the metal in her limbs, the enhancements in her body. Instead, he smiled slightly. "You're not a threat," he said. "I can see it. You're just trying to survive, right?" Lila hesitated, unsure if she could trust him. But there was something in his tone, a warmth she had not felt in the lab, that made her pause. She nodded slowly. I need help," she said, her voice soft but steady. Max's smile grew. "I can help. But we need to be careful. The lab will be looking for you. They won't let you go easily." Together they moved through the streets. Max showed her hidden paths and safe places where cameras did not reach, where people rarely noticed. He explained that the city was divided into zones, some patrolled heavily, some quiet and neglected. Lila listened carefully, absorbing everything. Her mind raced, planning each step of their journey. Her enhanced senses made her aware of every danger, every opportunity. As they walked, Lila began to talk about herself, not fully but enough to explain why she could not return to the lab. Max listened patiently, asking questions but never prying too deeply. He seemed to understand something instinctive about her, that she was not just a machine, not just metal and circuits, but a person with memories, emotions, and willpower. "You're not like the others," he said quietly. "Most cyborgs I've seen, they don't remember. You do. That makes you dangerous to them, but it also makes you special." Lila felt a strange warmth in her chest. It was the first time she had felt seen since waking. She nodded slowly. "I remember everything that matters. And I can't let them take it away." They found a safe place to rest in an abandoned workshop. Max had cleaned it up, made it a small sanctuary with tools and supplies. Lila sat on a wooden crate, examining her hands, her metal fingers tracing the lines of memory and strength. She realized that she had grown in ways she had not expected. The metal gave her power, but it was her mind and determination that made her strong. Over the next few days they planned. Max helped her understand the city's layout, the patrol schedules, the hidden tunnels. Lila trained, testing her speed, her strength, her ability to move silently. She practiced using her enhanced vision and hearing, noticing details that humans would miss, predicting movement, calculating escape routes. Each day she grew more confident. Each day the memory of her past life, the garden, Ethan, her home, drove her forward. She was not running just to survive. She was running to reclaim herself. One evening, as the neon lights reflected off wet streets, Max looked at her seriously. "We have to go further," he said. "You can't stay here. They'll find you eventually. There's a place, a hidden zone outside the city. Humans and cyborgs like you live there. Safe. Free. If we can get you there, you'll be protected." Lila felt a surge of hope. Finally, a goal beyond mere survival. She nodded. "Then we go," she said. "We go together." The journey was not easy. They moved at night, avoided drones, dodged patrols, and climbed over walls. Lila's enhanced abilities allowed her to leap higher, move faster, and sense danger before it arrived. But it was her mind, her memories, and her human instincts that guided them safely through the city. Max was clever, inventive, and brave. Together, they formed a team that balanced human ingenuity with cyborg strength. Along the way, Lila thought about Ethan, about her family, about the life she had lost. She realized that escape was not just about leaving the lab, it was about reclaiming everything that made her human. Each step, each plan, each narrow avoidance of danger, was a piece of that reclamation. She was no longer passive. She was active, alive, and determined to shape her own future. Finally, after days of careful movement, they reached the outskirts of the city. The neon lights faded, replaced by the soft glow of moonlight on empty streets. The air smelled clean, free. Lila breathed deeply, feeling a mixture of relief and anticipation. Beyond this point was the hidden zone Max had spoken of. Safety. Freedom. A chance to remember fully, to live fully, to be fully herself again. Max turned to her. "Are you ready?" he asked. Lila looked at him, then at the dark horizon. She felt the power in her limbs, the memories in her mind, and the fire in her heart. She was ready. She had escaped the lab. She had found an ally. And she had reclaimed a part of herself that no one, not even the scientists, could take away. "I'm ready," she said, her voice steady. And together they stepped into the unknown, toward freedom, toward life, and toward a future where Lila would be more than a machine, more than a memory, she would be herself. The journey out of the city had been long and exhausting. Lila's metal limbs moved with precision and strength, but her mind was weary from constant vigilance. Max led her through winding paths, dense forests, and hidden tunnels that cut through hills and abandoned structures. The air was cleaner here, free from the harsh neon lights and constant hum of machines in the city. Lila breathed deeply, feeling the weight of the lab and the city slowly lift from her shoulders. Finally, after days of travel, they arrived at a clearing. In the soft glow of dawn, a small village appeared. It was unusual, almost magical. Small houses were built with care, blending wood, stone, and metal. Gardens bloomed even in this hidden place, tended carefully by human hands and mechanical assistants. Lila's eyes widened. For the first time in weeks she felt calm. She had never seen a place like this. Here humans and machines lived together, not as enemies, not as tools, but as companions. A group of children ran past, laughing, their laughter mixing with the soft whir of mechanical limbs. Lila smiled. She remembered Ethan running through her childhood garden, just like these children now ran past her. Max approached a small building at the village center and knocked. A woman opened the door. Her arms were partially mechanical, her eyes warm and knowing. She studied Lila for a moment and then smiled. "Welcome," the woman said softly. "I am Nora. You are Lila, I believe?" Lila nodded, still amazed at the sense of peace in this place. "Yes. This is incredible. You all live like this." Nora gestured around her. "Yes. We have learned to accept both our human selves and the machines we carry. There is strength in remembering who we were, and power in embracing who we have become. Come inside. You must be tired." Inside, the village was alive with a soft, gentle energy. Cyborgs and humans moved together, preparing food, tending gardens, fixing machines, and sharing stories. The air was filled with voices, laughter, and the soft hum of technology working in harmony. Lila's heart raced. She had never imagined a place like this could exist. She felt a strange mixture of relief and hope. Here she could be herself without fear. As they walked further, Lila noticed others like her, cyborgs who had remembered their past lives. Some were young, some older. Some had visible enhancements, others barely any. But each one carried memories that glimmered in their eyes, in the way they moved, in the way they spoke. They were human, fully human, even with metal in their bodies. A man with a mechanical arm approached them. His eyes were bright with curiosity and kindness. "You must be Lila," he said. "I am Daniel. I remember my past too. It is strange, isn't it? To carry memories in a body that feels new, different, yet still ours." Lila nodded. "Yes. I remember my brother, my home, the garden I grew up in. It hurts sometimes, but it also makes me strong. It makes me feel alive." Daniel smiled gently. "Exactly. Our memories are our bridge. They connect who we were with who we are now. No machine can take that away. And that is our power." For the first time since she had awakened in the lab, Lila felt fully at home. She shared her story with them, telling them about the lab, the experiments, and her escape. Others shared their stories too, of lives lost, of memories preserved, of survival and resilience. Lila listened, laughed, and sometimes cried with them. Each story was a reminder that humanity could not be erased, no matter the body, no matter the technology. The village elders invited Lila and Max to stay in a small home at the edge of the village. It was simple but comfortable. Lila placed her sketches and notes on a wooden table and looked out the window at the gardens beyond. She remembered her own garden, the one she had tended with Ethan. Here she could plant again. Here she could live. Days turned into weeks. Lila learned new skills from the villagers, blending her human creativity with her mechanical precision. She helped repair machines, tend gardens, and even teach younger children who were curious about her metal limbs. She began to feel a sense of purpose that she had not felt in the lab or on the streets of the city. Her memories guided her, giving her courage. Her mechanical body gave her the ability to act. Together, they made her strong in a way she had never known before. One afternoon, she walked with Max to a quiet hill overlooking the village. The sun was setting, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. Lila took a deep breath, feeling the wind on her face. She turned to Max. "I never imagined a place like this could exist. People and machines living together. Remembering yet moving forward." Max smiled. "It's rare, yes, but it is possible. And you are part of it now. You have a place here, Lila. A home." She looked out at the village, at the people tending gardens, at children playing, at cyborgs repairing machines, and felt a warmth she had not felt in years. She realized something important. Memory was not just a connection to the past. It was a bridge to the future. Her past life gave her courage. Her present form gave her power. Together they made her capable of anything. Lila began to take on small projects in the village. She redesigned some of the gardens to accommodate both humans and machines, using her precision to plant carefully and efficiently. She worked with Daniel and others to repair old machinery, making it safer and stronger. Each task reminded her that she was both human and more than human, capable of creating, healing, and protecting. At night, she would sit by a small fire with Max or walk alone among the trees, thinking about her past and the journey that had brought her here. Sometimes she would close her eyes and see Ethan's smile, hear his laughter, and feel the soil under her fingers. Other times she would feel the hum of her metal body, the power in her movements, and understand how far she had come. One evening, as she watched the stars appear in the sky, Lila felt a deep sense of belonging. The memories of her past, the loss, the pain, they were all part of her. But they were no longer a burden. They were a source of strength, guiding her, teaching her, reminding her that even in a body that was half machine, she was still fully human. The village welcomed her fully. She shared meals, laughter, and stories. She learned about other cyborgs' past lives, their joys and sorrows, and realized that memory was a gift, not a curse. Each story she heard reinforced what she had always believed: humanity could not be erased. No matter the form, no matter the technology, the spirit endured. Lila began to teach others to hold on to their memories, to write, to draw, to remember. She helped them see that their past lives were not something to mourn, but something to cherish, something that made them strong. And in this small, hidden village, Lila finally felt that she belonged. She was not just a survivor. She was a bridge between past and future, between humanity and technology, between memory and life. She stood on a small hill one morning, looking over the village as children ran and cyborgs worked. She closed her eyes and felt the connection deeply, a bridge of memory and presence stretching through time. She whispered softly, almost to herself, "I remember. I am alive. And nothing can take that from me." The wind carried her words through the village. It was a promise to herself and to everyone here, that the human spirit could survive, could thrive, and could inspire, even in the most unexpected forms. Lila had rediscovered herself, and in doing so, had found a place where the past and present could coexist, where humanity could shine, and where she could finally be free. The village had changed over the months since Lila and Max had arrived. Small wooden and metal homes now stood side by side with flowering gardens, workshops, and play areas for children. Lila walked through the streets, observing the life around her, feeling a deep sense of pride and purpose. She had found herself here, among people who understood what it meant to be both human and machine, and she knew that she had the strength to help them shape a brighter future. Lila's memories were no longer just private treasures. They had become tools, guiding her decisions, teaching her patience, and reminding her of what mattered most. She remembered her childhood garden, the one she had shared with Ethan, and she realized that even small acts, planting seeds, nurturing growth, could carry hope. She wanted to create something similar here, something that would remind everyone of the enduring power of life and memory. She chose a small, open square in the center of the village, a place where the sun reached the earth and where people could gather. She began digging the soil with her strong hands, feeling the dirt between her fingers, the warmth of the sun on her face. Max and the other villagers helped, some using their mechanical strength to move stones, others planting seeds, watering carefully, and shaping the space. Lila worked alongside them, laughing when a child got soil on her clothes, smiling when a cyborg carefully positioned a delicate flower beside a rock. As the garden grew, it became more than a collection of flowers. It was a symbol, a living reminder that the human spirit could survive and flourish, even in bodies that were part machine. Lila planted roses, tulips, and small trees, each one chosen for its beauty and strength. She remembered the joy of planting with Ethan, of waiting patiently for buds to open, and she wanted everyone to feel that same hope. Every petal, every leaf, was a proof that life could endure. Lila also guided the villagers in combining technology with nature. Mechanical irrigation systems provided water efficiently, while sensors monitored soil health and sunlight exposure. Cyborgs with enhanced precision planted seeds in careful patterns, creating a garden that was both beautiful and perfectly organized. The humans contributed with creativity, choosing colors, arranging flowers in ways that pleased the eye, and teaching children to tend small plots of their own. Together they created a community where strength and spirit, machine and human, worked in harmony. Beyond the garden, Lila began leading projects that improved the village as a whole. They repaired old buildings, built new homes, and installed systems that allowed for sustainable energy. Lila's memories guided her, reminding her of practical solutions she had seen as a child, simple but effective. Her mechanical body allowed her to act quickly and carefully, but it was her mind, her heart, and her understanding of human needs that shaped the village's growth. Max worked closely with her, providing technical expertise and moral support, and together they became a team that others looked to for guidance. Lila also encouraged others to explore their own memories, to write them down, to draw them, and to share them with the community. Story nights became a regular event, where humans and cyborgs alike would sit around fires, recounting childhood memories, family stories, and past adventures. Lila often shared her own memories of Ethan, of the gardens, of laughter and small triumphs. The villagers listened, laughed, and sometimes cried, realizing that even in a world changed by technology, memory and human spirit could inspire courage and unity. The children especially loved the garden. They ran along its paths, played among the flowers, and learned from Lila how to care for the plants. She taught them to be patient, to notice the details, and to understand that life, even in small forms, was precious. Some children had small mechanical enhancements, and she showed them how to use their abilities to nurture, not harm. Watching them, Lila felt a deep satisfaction. She was helping shape a future where humans and machines could live together in balance, guided by memory, respect, and care. One day, while sitting on a stone bench surrounded by the growing flowers, Lila thought about her journey. From the bright laboratory where she had awakened, to the dangerous escape through neon-lit streets, to the rediscovery of a hidden village, she had come far. She realized that every step had taught her something important: courage, resilience, compassion, and the importance of memory. Her past life had given her wisdom, and her present form had given her the power to act. Together they allowed her to guide others and build something lasting. Lila noticed Daniel and several other villagers working on a new water system for the garden. She joined them, moving with precision, adjusting pipes and valves, using both her human understanding and mechanical skill. Max was nearby, fixing a broken irrigation pump. Together, they laughed when water splashed unexpectedly, and for a moment, Lila felt pure joy, a simple happiness she had almost forgotten. As the days passed, the village continued to grow and thrive. The gardens expanded, new homes were built, and more humans and cyborgs arrived, seeking a place where they could live freely without fear of exploitation. Lila welcomed each newcomer with warmth, sharing stories, showing them the garden, and helping them find their place. She encouraged everyone to honor their memories while embracing the new opportunities their combined strengths offered. Lila often walked through the garden at sunset, reflecting on the changes. The flowers swayed gently in the evening breeze, their colors vibrant and alive. She touched the petals, feeling their softness, and smiled. Each flower reminded her of her past, of Ethan, of the small joys she had once known. Each flower also reminded her of the future she was helping to build, a world where memory and human spirit could endure, inspire, and thrive, even in bodies that were partly machine. One evening, as the villagers gathered in the garden for a celebration of the harvest, Lila addressed them. "We have built something beautiful here," she said softly. "A place where memory, life, and spirit can grow alongside technology. We honor our past and we use our strength to protect our future. This garden, these homes, our community, they are proof that we can endure, that we can inspire, and that we can thrive." The villagers applauded, some smiling, some with tears in their eyes. Lila felt a deep warmth in her chest. She looked at the children playing among the flowers, at cyborgs tending their mechanical tasks with care, at humans teaching and guiding, and realized that they had built more than a village. They had built hope, trust, and unity. That night, as Lila lay on a small cot in her home, she thought about the journey that had brought her here. She remembered the laboratory, the escape, the hidden village, and the friends she had met along the way. She thought about Ethan and her family, about the gardens she had once tended, and about the life she had reclaimed. She smiled softly, feeling at peace. She had not only survived, she had built something lasting, something meaningful. In the days and months that followed, the village continued to grow stronger. Lila remained at its heart, planting seeds, guiding projects, teaching and learning alongside her community. Her memories continued to guide her, giving her courage. Her mechanical abilities continued to aid her, giving her strength. And her human spirit, resilient and enduring, became a beacon for others. One morning, Lila stood at the center of the garden, watching the sunlight glint off the petals of the flowers. She touched a small rose gently, remembering Ethan's smile and the joy of her childhood garden. She felt the warmth of the sun, the hum of life, and the soft breeze on her face. For the first time since awakening in the lab, she felt completely whole, human, machine, and something more. She had found her place and she had found herself. She whispered softly to the garden, to the villagers, to the stars above. "We endure. We remember. We thrive." And in that moment, surrounded by life, memory, and community, Lila knew that she had truly begun a new life, a beginning built on courage, memory, and the unbreakable strength of the human spirit.